Hey guys, how's it going? Joe here from the Run Off the GP Blog podcast. I just wanted to quickly jump on before the start of the episode and apologise and say that today's edition is audio only. We had a few technical difficulties whilst we were recording, but I hope it doesn't take away from another great episode highlighting a fantastic race in Australia this weekend. So sit back, relax and enjoy.
Michael, let's go.
No, Mike, that was so not right.
Get in there, Lewis.
George Russell, qualified Mr. Hamilton.
You are the world champion.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Joe Tyrrell and welcome back to the Run Off the GP Blog podcast. It's Australian Grand Prix weekend, which means it's well, it's not even that early now, but it means I've been up since 6 a.m, 5 a.m, whatever it was. I can't even remember at this point. And it means the two people joining me this week who are making their debuts have also been up since the early hours of this morning. I've got Oliver Darcy. Ollie, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here, thrilled to be here, and looking forward to trying to get through this very sleep deprived.
Yeah, it's not ideal. And joining us from our Swedish edition, our first international editor, Alan Matovu. How are you, Alan? Welcome aboard.
I'm good, thanks. Good to be here and ready to crack on.
Absolutely. It's great to have you. Thank you for joining me. Unfortunately, Toby, he's away at Wembley today watching Plymouth in the Papa John's Trophy. So I've given you two the call up. Australian Grand Prix. Although you might have been very tired, you have both watched it. What did you make of the race? Alan, I'll start with you.
I thought it was pretty good, surprisingly. I was very happy that Max didn't have it all his own way, because I guess we all thought that that was basically going to happen, and that was basically what everyone's script basically was like. But the Mercs decided to actually make it a bit more interesting, and then, as we'll discuss later on, a lot more happened in the race. So much happened, so it's going to be interesting to go through it and talk about what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Very sleep deprived, Ollie, but I think all the chaos that ensued kept us up a bit, didn't it?
Well, they did their best to keep us entertained, didn't they? It was a bizarre race because you had the first 10 laps, didn't you, where it all happened. Then you had the first red flag and the first standing start, and you thought something could happen there with maybe Hamilton hopefully keeping Verstappen at bay. But I mean that Red Bull, we'll talk about it later, that Red Bull's with those 4 DRS zones is just ridiculous. Went through, looked like Verstappen was going to win by 20 seconds. And then those final few laps happened. So it was a weird race, entertaining race, probably the best race so far out of the 3. Just hopefully can see a few more races like that for the rest of this season.
Yeah, I always say we need, as long as the drivers are safe, I always say we need more red flags in Formula One, because it certainly makes it more interesting, and and on this occasion, it's made it far more complicated and confusing. But we'll start right at the start of the race. We'll quickly debrief. So the first one, I can't see this thing. I'm so tired. I can't even remember what the first one was for. Can either of you remind me?
So I think Charles went wide.
That was
it.
Charles, they needed to get rid
wide.
of his car, didn't they?
Yeah, he beached it.
Yeah, Leclerc beached it and he needed to replace it.
So Leclerc, he beached it, didn't it? And that was safety car, wasn't it? And then Albon then plowed into the wall and spun off, and gravel was all over the track. And it was half a lap, they then red flagged it, didn't they? And that was the first red flag.
And that was the downfall of George Russell's race, really, because what we haven't mentioned is he got an incredible start, was in front of turn 1. Verstappen was under all sorts of pressure, really, going into that first turn. Russell was in front, and then Russell pitted under the initial safety car, but then the race got red flagged. So really, Alan, his race was it was downhill from there, really.
Yeah, and the thing that I thought was cool from him was that he wasn't too mad afterwards, because he realized that the call to pit him onto the hards was the call that, like, nobody expected the race to get red flagged, right? Because the damage didn't look that bad initially. I'm guessing you guys thought the same thing watching live. Yeah. It didn't look like the crash was that bad. And it could just get cleared under a safety car or a VSC, probably a safety car. So he wasn't too mad over that. And with all the chaos that happened, he probably could have got more places as well. But obviously he got some more bad luck later on in the race. So yeah, it was probably like a sign of things to come just from that incident alone.
Yeah, Russell was pretty unlucky, wasn't he, Ollie? Like, to then have that and then the engine failure.
Yeah, it was a shame for him and Mercedes, I think, because they were P1 and P2 at one stage, because Verstappen just fell backwards off the start line. He was P3, so it looked like it could have been a bit more tricky for him, even if it was, even if he would have just had to go through two Mercedes. Having two of them in the way would have maybe allowed one of them to put some distance between them. But then, obviously, the pit strategy that they had just didn't go their way after the red flag, and then power unit failure for him, wasn't it? Fire out the back of the car, which we're not used to seeing with Mercedes, are we? I mean, they're one of the teams that are the most reliable on the grid. So when you see a Mercedes car pull over, it's always very surprising, and you feel bad for whoever it is, because it is just unlucky, and it fell to the most unluckiest driver of the day, really, in George.
Yeah, absolutely. And from there onwards, the race just it plateaued a little bit. And then those last 5 laps, I think it was at lap 54, Magnussen crashed out of nowhere into the wall. And then we had a red flag for that, because it was just a tire in the middle of the road. Like, it was a pretty.
Yeah, I haven't seen
crash.
Magnussen's crash. Did he just clip the wall? Was it?
I just think he just clipped the wall, got too close. I'm pretty sure that's it. Alan's nodding his head, so
Yeah,
I think we're right. Sleep, whether we can remember is another question. But and then the race restart after that red flag. I thought, great, we're gonna get chaos, and then Alan, it was chaos. Like,
yeah, I mean, I kind of had an inkling that something could happen, because everyone was probably like, the drivers were probably a bit sleep deprived as well with the standards of driving we got to see, because yeah, nobody was leaving each other that much space, but it's to be expected. Everyone wants to get the points. But my oh my, that was something, right? It's not.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've seen a crash with that many cars. Or
it reminded me of Mugello in 2020, when that was just utter chaos, and that was another time when we had 2 red flags, and it was just utter chaos. And that's as long as the drivers are safe, I'm all for that personally. I don't know about you, lad.
No, I'm of the same opinion. Like, I think safety's evolved in such a way that you can have a restart like that, and everyone was safe. No one was worried really about safety. So, to me, doing the live blog, it's good entertainment for that. For fans watching, it's good to for audience retention, for fans to just keep watching and enjoy it. What I was just came to mind is that it was a sort of mini sprint race, and this new sprint race format that could come into Baku is something that we could see, like, because they have qualifying, then they will have a sprint race, which will have no effect on qualifying grids or race grids. So something like that, where drivers are fighting for every single position, every single second, is something we could see in 4 weeks' time in Baku. You could see that from the restart, that Sainz and Alonso wanted that podium position dearly, gave no one any space. Same with Ocon and Gasly. I was saying Gasly would have been my driver of the day if he kept it in 5th place, but I thought he was bitterly unlucky as well. So something like that we could see next race weekend with the potential of the new format.
We'll definitely speak about Baku in a moment. Well, in a little while when we look ahead. But let's look back on the Australian Grand Prix and the winners and losers now. Alan, I'll start with you. I want to hear your first winner and why.
I think my first winner is Yuki Tsunoda, and that's because I watched him the past two races, and he just about missed out on getting 10th place. And with how bad AlphaTauri's car seems to be, a point would mean a lot to them. So he managed to get lucky through all the carnage. He lost 10th place on track since he wasn't fast enough, but after everything that happened, he ended up getting into the points. So I think that will go a long way in the battle in the bottom of the grid. So I think Yuki's my first winner.
Big for his confidence as well, because to go that many races, finishing P11, he is sort of, the pressure is on him this season, being the not lead driver, but the one with the experience now at AlphaTauri. So he needed that result, really, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with his history from the past seasons where he wasn't really. I bet they didn't have much trust in him since he was crashing the car a lot and stuff, and he was getting outperformed by Gasly. So it's gonna be really good for him. This race is it's a good stepping stone for him to build up on, and hopefully we'll see better things from him.
Absolutely, he's gone up in my estimations this week as Yuki Tsunoda. So I think that's a nice winner. That's a good, fair one. Ollie, you've gone with someone who could have been a big loser right at the end of the race, but he got promoted back up to P3. Fernando Alonso is a race winner, not a race winner, but he's a GP blog winner again.
Yeah. I think the story of Alonso this season is fantastic for fans and for F1 viewers. Today, I think, showed the luck that he's had again. Going to Aston Martin, obviously, very good car. Lucky to be at the helm of that car. And then today, he could have easily been P12, could have finished the race P12, P13. But the FIA and their decision allowed him to move up to P3, and it fell his way. And that's his third podium in the third race this season. So yeah, he's my winner. I think he's driving just as well as he has done all his career. I think some of the moves and some of the times he was knocking down today showed he's still got that quality, and some of that was rewarded with a bit of luck from the FIA.
Yeah, I don't think Carlos Sainz quite agrees. I think he's pretty miffed. And
No.
On the social media post I put out, I said provisional finish order because I think several teams were arguing something. Alpine were arguing something about the restart not being fair.
Haas have lodged a complaint as well. That came
Everyone.
up on the. Everyone wants the highest position. I mean, Hulkenberg. I was going to say Hulkenberg could have been a winner. He was a he's a winner anyway. 7th, so that's points for him. But he could have been P4 at the end of the race, which would have been unbelievable for him. And Tsunoda P5. So it's all so crazy. And you're right to say provisional.
Yeah, a team that I have absolutely slated for weeks now are McLaren. I have been their worst enemy. I've hated them. But you have both put them down as a winner this week. So Alan, I'll start with you. Why are McLaren a winner? Well, it's not hard to work out why, but please do explain what happened for them this week.
It really isn't, but I feel like they definitely this might as well be a Grand Prix win for them, because I don't think that they're going to get points for the rest of the season unless something like this happens again. So I think that they should be happy with their performance. They're absolute winners in this weekend because they happen to be, I guess, one of the luckiest teams out there with what happened. But they actually did have a good race on track as well, because we saw the battle between it was Norris and Hulkenberg for a few laps, and Perez overtook Norris, and then Perez overtook Hulkenberg, and then Hulkenberg tried to keep up with Perez with DRS, and then eventually Norris forced Hulkenberg to make a mistake, and then he got past it. So there is some pace in the car, as we saw, but maybe on a track like Baku, where their high drag is a problem, they're probably going to struggle a bit more to make overtakes. So I think they are winners this weekend because of the double points finish, but it might be the last of it might be the last good results for a long time. So we'll see.
And Ollie, you're nodding your head.
Oh, I think a double points finish was not on their radar at all this season. I don't really know how they've gone from, I mean, what they had with Norris in, was it 2020, 2021, to where they are now. It's, I mean, British, as a British person, a British fan wanting to see British teams do well, to see them in the state they're in this season was really disappointing. As Alan said, the luck they had this weekend to get a double points finish won't happen every weekend. I think, as he said, it might be their only one, but I think they've got to take it, run with it, and put that on the shelf as have that as their trophy for this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done, McLaren, because I've given you some stick over the last few months, but fair play. Oliver, I'll stay with you. You've not gone for a driver. You've not gone for a team for your loser. Who is your loser?
My loser, a bit outside the box, but fans that left before, was it lap 55? Who thought
Something like that.
the race is just going to continue, just going to flatline. Verstappen's going to romp home 20 seconds, and then they missed out on pretty much everything that happened. I mean, I don't know if I've been the victim of it ever during an F1 race. I've definitely been the victim of switching off mentally from a race that's just flatlined. And I was almost, if I wasn't doing the live blog this morning, I probably would have been the same again. But yeah, just it turned around where Magnussen just innocuously hit the wall, and then 2 red flags in 2 laps after that chaotic start. So yeah, if anyone left after lap 55 after paying all that money, shame on you, and you deservedly missed out on the best action of the season so far.
And it's not cheap to go to a Formula One race. Let's get that clear.
No.
So you should not be leaving early. So yeah, that is a deserving loser. Alan, you've gone for 2 teams. I'll let you explain. I don't know if Alpine needs explaining because they had a shocker right at the end. But Alpine and Williams. Alpine and Williams.
I would say Alpine and Williams. Mainly Williams are on the list, and it could have been one of several other teams, including Ferrari, who I support. But I feel like with Ferrari, nobody has expectations for them now anymore based off of what they did last season. This could have happened in any race last season, literally. So we're all used to it. But with Williams, I think I've listed them down as one of my losers because Albon had a very good opportunity to get decent points. He had good qualifying session, and he was doing really well, and then just binned it, made a mistake and binned it.
Yeah.
So
it was a hefty shunt as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I have them up there for that reason, and also because of what Sargent did on the last lap, because he basically crashed into De Vries at the end. I don't know if that many people caught it on tape, but like he basically just was caught out with what was happening in front of him and crashed into De Vries. And he wasn't really going to get any points, I assume, because he was at the back of everything. But it would have still meant something to like not crash and just have a clean race, you know, since he's a rookie and stuff. So that's why I have Williams up there as well as one of the losers.
Absolutely. Williams, they're probably the most frustrating team, I think. Like, I think you agree, Ollie. Like, they had so much, as Alan mentioned, so much potential this weekend. It just didn't quite work out.
They're a really bizarre team this season. I wasn't expecting them to be as good as they are this season, especially after the last couple of seasons they've had. So to be where they are now, I think is good for them. But as you say, Albon had such a good chance to score some decent points again, and just dropped it into the wall.
Yeah.
And then Logan Sargent just, I don't really know what he was thinking going into that turn one, just overcooked it and just shunted De Vries. So yeah, as you say, frustrating team because they could have done so well. But I think they will score more points this season. I really
Yeah.
do. I think there's potential for them, but they lost out, as Alan's on some big points today. And Logan Sargent will definitely feel annoyed at himself for not having a clean race and building up that confidence. So yeah, I think for Williams are definitely a loser.
They'll bounce back. And Alpine, I think Alpine are looking at a pretty miserable weekend. Double DNF right at the end after what could have been an incredible result. So we won't rub any more salt in their wounds. They've just had a shocker. And it's a shame because they were so good for so long. But those are our winners and losers. Let's have a look at Baku now. What can either of you tell me what happened in Baku last year? Because I can't.
Was that not that wasn't the Hamilton going straight on, was it? Was that was
No, that was
2021?
2021. I've got the wrong year up. Max won. I'm pretty confident of that. Yeah, Max Verstappen did win.
Yes. Well, see, I mean, it was one of those races where he finished about 20 seconds ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, Charles Leclerc started on pole. Charles Leclerc DNF'd after power unit failure on lap 21. Sorry to remind you, Alan. It was actually a double DNF for Ferrari because Leclerc and Sainz both retired. And that was the start of that was sort of the middle of Red Bull's ridiculously dominant spell.
Yeah.
It was a Red Bull 1-2. I don't think there was much else to report. Apart from Daniel Ricciardo beat Lando Norris that week. So are we optimistic? And haven't we got a sprint race?
Yes, we do.
Alan, are you excited for a sprint race?
I kind of am because based off of what we've seen the past few races, the cars can follow each other like easier. So I'm looking forward to it more than I would have, especially since we couldn't remember what happened last year. But I have I'm very optimistic for the next race because it seems like the cars can the field's like more closer together. So I think it's going to be a good one.
I like your optimism. And Ollie, are you looking forward to it? We've got a bit of a break now.
Yeah, it's a bizarre schedule, isn't it? It's 3-4 week break now.
Yeah, for 4 weeks.
It's 4 weeks. 4 weeks. Bit of time to rest and recuperate.
Need it.
And then go again. Baku's a really weird one, isn't it? Because you've either got all sorts of carnage or it's the most boring race you'll ever see. If they bring this, are they going to bring this new sprint race schedule to Baku? Is that the plan, or?
Well, there's not been any official word. It's just it's just come out of nowhere. Like if you had asked me a couple of days ago, I'd have said no chance because it's just not going to plan. Not like it's nothing. From our point of view, nothing's been planned. Like they're just like go on then. Might as well do it. But I think it probably will happen now.
From what I've seen from MotoGP, I mean F1 and MotoGP, different kettle of fish really, but they have that system in place where they have qualifying, set the grid. They then have that grid for their sprint race, and then they score points. And then the grid that they had on the Friday qualifying session is then what they have for the race on Sunday. And from their 2 sprint races, it's been a really good success, a really big success. I can't see why it wouldn't be the case for F1, especially if you've got just a sprint race where they can go all hell for leather. Nothing could be unless they have a massive shunt, big crash, cause issues for them to get the car sorted for Sunday. there could be some really good racing. Like Alan said, they can follow each other really well. And you could have some drivers that could score some good points for the team. It could cause some. It could help the driver standings, constructor standings. I think it's a good idea, and it doesn't hurt to try it. So if it works in Baku, you could try it out in other sprint races and see how it goes for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got more sprint races this year as well, so more opportunities to try things, get an idea of what works and what doesn't, because the sprint race is still a very new concept. Prediction time. How are we going to do predictions? I haven't thought this through. We're going to do the winner of the sprint race, the winner of the actual race. No, hang on. We've still got a normal qualifying session, haven't we?
Yeah.
Scrap that. We're going to do the poll from the qualifying session, the winner of the normal race, and your surprise. Alan, you're going to be representing our guests. And Ollie, because you are part of the English team, you're going to be representing Toby, who is not here this week. So there's a lot of pressure on you. But last week, we all had, in terms of results, I had Max Verstappen pole and win, as did Adam and Toby. So everyone got maximum points there. I had a Haas top 7 on a technicality. That got me 3 bonus points. Adam had a rookie in the points. That got him 3 bonus points. And Toby had a double Aston Martin podium, I want to say. So he gets 0 for that.
Yeah, okay.
So, Alan, I'll come to you first. You're representing our guests. Far away with your predictions.
So Max he's had a pretty good run, so it's got to stop at some point. So I'm going to say Perez will get pole since he likes street tracks. So fingers crossed that happens. And then sprint race should be after that. So sprint race, I think Max will win. Sorry for the boring answer, but I think that's where he will get his mojo back. And then the main race, it's Baku, so there's going to be safety cars and restarts. So let's say Russell will get a win with Mercedes.
Okay.
Something's going to happen, and Russell will be at the top step of the podium. But that's not my surprise of the race. I would say my surprise will be the Williams will basically have a rocket ship for Baku. We've seen how fast their car is already. Norris couldn't overtake Sargent with DRS in Jeddah. So that car is going to surprise everyone. And Albon will finish P5 and Sargent will finish in the points. So that's my surprise of the race.
All right. I'm going to give you that one, Alan. I'm going to give you that one. Ollie, you're representing Toby, so the pressure's on because Toby might be having words.
Oh yeah, I don't like this pressure. I might go really safe with my predictions and just go Max across the board. I really might.
That's why we've got the surprise to stop that happening.
Yeah. No, I know. I can't see him losing out in Baku, especially what he won last year. He should have won in 2021 if his tyre didn't blow up. I think he's too dominant around there to give it up. I think he's hooked up the Red Bull at the moment. It's his to lose. So I would say he wins. He will take pole, and that Red Bull is just an absolute. It's just on a different planet. It is a spaceship. I think they will win. I think they will win, and I think Max will take his third in a row.
Yeah.
My surprise. It's a tough one. I think I really don't know. I might go out there, and I think Haas had a pretty good weekend this weekend. Hulkenberg getting 7th. Magnussen was up there until he hit the wall. I think Haas will get another points finish. I really do.
I'll
Don't
just
think-
about give you that. I'll let you have that.
Okay. That's a bit safe. Not top 7. A Haas top 8.
Has top 8, yeah, that's fine. Because I'm going to go for a top 8 as well. I make the rules on this podcast. I'm going to go for Max on pole, a Lewis Hamilton race win, not a sprint race win. Max on pole, Lewis Hamilton normal race win, and an AlphaTauri top 8. I think now is their time, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be Nick De Vries. I'm gonna push it right out there because I had a good result in Baku last year, actually, where I predicted I think it was a Gasly top 6. So I'm gonna go with Nick De Vries top 8. That's my predictions. But lads, that's all we got time for this week. It's been an absolute pleasure to welcome you onto the runoff. Ollie, Alan, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, my pleasure. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're watching on Spotify, make sure you follow us. And if you want to watch any clips, you can check us out on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube Shorts. But until next time, I've been Joe Tyrrell. This is The Runoff, the GP Blog podcast. Goodbye.
Michael, go on then.
No, Mike, that was so not right.
Get in there, Lewis.
George Russell, qualified Mr. Hamilton.
You are